Howdy, y'all. It's MJ from All to Love TV. How are you? So today, the last few, the whole of life is rather profound, isn't it? Noodling and pondering our existence on Earth, especially when things get kind of intense, emotionally speaking, because that's really where we're experiencing everything is within our beingness. So, yeah, I've had an interesting morning and life in general in the last few weeks and few days have been particularly profound and awesome in like a really divine way. Divine alignments and this sort of coordination, as it were, this divine alignment in as far as coordinating the aspects of self that needed shifting or integrating. So today I want to talk about global restructuring. Of course, it's via the paradigm shift and a mass awakening. Awakening usually is born out of suffering and ultimately a desire to not suffer anymore. And so in Abraham language, you have contrast and polarity to shoot off rockets of desire. So the more humans become aware of corruption and greed and the aspects of our system of control and domination that aren't truly in alignment with their heart, this sort of triggers this profound suffering and pain. And so we continue to see a rise of empathy via the suffering and crises that we're demonstrating in the media. And then within that, the media veil is getting thinner, and with social media there's a expansion of information on various timelines, frequencies, wavelengths, whatever you want to call it, which is then helping people to attune to different frequencies and thus create different timelines for Earth, ideally positive ones, hopeful ones, ones that propagate love rather than fear. This is also empowering. So within the rise of empathy, we're seeing great souls continue to empower themselves to freedom, integrity, authenticity. This, of course, comes from that sense of responsibility or self-responsibility. You can perceive it from the old paradigm as selfishness, and yet in truth, the heart of the empath has a sense of responsibility for the whole because of that connectivity. And so in truth, the rising of empathy and also empowerment is really a desire to act in accordance with divine law, which really is the greatest potential that we have to fulfill here, is our own dharma or karmic purpose or divine purpose, as it were. And so within these desires that we're holding space for to make manifest, there is great karmic healing. So more of us are aligning with these soul tribes, people in resonance with our soul's essence, and then it's unlocking a greater memory bank to then integrate the karmic healing, thus closing off undesired timelines. So we're not looping back into old patterns or old relationship dynamics. We're actually creating new ones and thus opening to receive. So thus it's like all the love you've shared, all the love you've been giving throughout your life, now it's the tidal turn of opening to receive that love. And so again, how this is looking on the broader global level is that there's rising action. People are rising in the form of protest, in desiring to make changes, practical changes, and ultimately demanding change. This is still something that's happening from within the self. This is why you know, karmic and emotional healing and shape shifting the thought program via neuroplasticity and again the emotional body. It works in coordination. So by being more attuned to our emotions and holding space for them within that field, we then have access to higher consciousness thought vibration that is ultimately, again, symbolic of us desiring change, rising to action, seeing the action, feedbacking that loop, and inspiring more and more and more. There's sort of tiers, the way I'm seeing it as well. There's a rising leadership taking place, so it's still on the fringes, but there are new leaders coming to the fore, new thought leaders and spiritual leaders, if that's what you want to call it. And this fringe movement being led by compassion, empathy. I have here like the light worker movement. I don't particularly like the name light worker, simply again because it can quite easily swing people into the concept of false light, which we do talk about, the illusion of the love and light, and where I mean that's very true. However, the only potential egoic issue with that is that we bypass the shadow work, we bypass the authenticity piece to project this idea of good wholeness and goodness when behind the scenes there's still a lot of shadow aspects, i.e. karmic healing to be healed, processed, integrated, remembered. You know, it's all in essence, the words doesn't matter. It's the vibrational essence of human, clearing the density of the fragmented self or the lost soul, or just the unconscious loops that are still appearing in our reality that trigger pain or fear or what have you, and then that requires healing and soulful recognition. And then as you continue on this healing journey, people, places, and things will line up that will be clearly demonstrating to you that you've shifted out of one pattern and into another. And yet the healing that takes place in the next wave or the next level is really divine in manifestation. It's synchronicity and alignment and serendipity, like much beyond the veil. More psychic ability, more intuitive resonance and knowing, more ability to stay in that integrity regardless of, you know, the perceived conflict, and yet knowing the heart of self and being guided from within the divine aspect, i.e. the full potentiality of your source point. That is sort of the next level and how it reigns supreme. It's alignment trumps all. Your totality is in truth your highest joy and the benevolence of your own grace via that divine connection. So there is a movement rising, and yet there's multiple movements happening, and some are just more invisible, as again only as far as that mainstream propagated agenda goes, in recognizing that whether it's mainstream or social media, there is still like a residue clearing in our human collective unconscious of like being addicted to the drama, being kind of fixated and wanting to jump on cause bandwagons where we feed our egoic construct of duality to, well, again, continue to affirm our aliveness rather than affirming our aliveness via the heart field of our own truth gate, as it were, like our own unique purpose for being. And that really is unique and much more soulful than we've been taught, or than that the human evolutionary cycle has, in this timeline anyway, like bought into. So it's, you know, you're the only one that can know your path and your purpose, and yet everything and everyone and all of it around you is sort of signaling to you little pieces, little puzzle pieces to the great unfolding, which is eternal. You know, it is just never ending, which is why, you can't get it wrong. But I'm aware that we can easily give our power to external structures. We can easily, just because that's the default setting. It's the default setting of separation consciousness, which on a soul level, everyone has bought into that, or sold themselves into that to make manifest here. That has to do with the soul contract, but also the more awareness you vibrate, the more presence you bring into that awareness field. You at I guess different junctures, or different junctures of your life, you will be given the opportunity to revoke the contracts, basically, to disintegrate those contracts simply through your desire, really, of not wanting governments or certain maybe family members or the banking system, not wanting those perceived external authority bodies to have control over you. So your soul will naturally guide you to, the information you need, or the people you need, or what have you, that will disentangle those karmic binds, as it were. And that's all part, again, of the rising of empathy and compassion, the rise of empowerment, as it were. And seeing, again, rather than like light worker and authenticity movement, so authenticity and dynamic integrated power. And that has to do with our ability to process in a healthy way via the light of our awareness as the healed self, as the one healer, with the biofeedback of all external aspects, moving forward with a sense of love and compassion, but at the same time holding your own, not re-entangling. And then, so that's integration and unification into the one self. So what we have are more beings walking in the truth of the one self, and the knowingness of creation, ultimately, how we create here. And then I have in capital letters like pole shift. So this is all really again divine. It's from within a broader aspect of choosing on the planet as well, like not just our own like human mind, but the planet as well, having made this choice to experience the pole shift, to move into greater light frequencies. It's infinite. It happens over and over again in Earth's sort of infinity loop in the cosmos, in the solar system. And then so the pole shift is just another way of seeing or perceiving the rising global frequencies. So because of where Earth's moving in the solar system, there's an alignment with greater suns, like the galactic center. So the suns, our energy field bombarding the Earth, is rising the Earth's frequencies. And that is ultimately why we're experiencing this paradigm shift. It's all like paradoxical and one in the same, which is why ego is sort of like a dying out construct, thinking that we are kind of controlling, and yet we are choosing. We choose via the gate of just the feeling like peace, feeling love, feeling abundance, feeling free, and then living that regardless of the circumstances is what generates it's what shapeshifts your reality. It's what generates it. It's just that we've been under the veil for so long, and there's been so much fear propagated via the darkness of where the Earth's energy has been in the cosmos. It's just patterns, and you get used to certain patterns, and then now it's all changing up. But we've always had leadership and teachers throughout the ages just kind of drop in to remind us that we're not alone, and we all are one, and love truly does co-create with light in all the cosmos, in all the universes, in all dimensions. It's not separate. Yeah. So, you know, whether we believe like, oh yeah, I'm smart because I'm aware of the paradigm shift, or it because of where the earth is going, there's the rising frequencies, and then this is stimulating or creating the paradigm shift. You know, it's one and the same thing. So the quantum leap is a quantum jump in our awareness. Suddenly, like, being aware of like, I'm in this world and it's all separate, and then suddenly like, whoa, I'm feeling this and I'm feeling that, and like, there's all these things happening on this planet, woe is me, like, what are we going to do about it? And then that's the quantum leap in our awareness, that we all have a co-creative responsibility to be more responsible, to be more connected to the heart, to not just blindly, well, consume or just not stay asleep, basically, unless that is a soul's choice, and that's a divine purpose as well. That's part of our ability to practice letting go and detachment. The more we entangle ourselves, the greater is the pain of a disentangling, i.e. if we're feeding codependency, where we entangle ourselves with other to feed our own joy or happiness, or to feed our own ego, which is, it's all interrelated, then when souls depart, or when relationships end, or what have you, it's more painful, because we've then attached our sense of self to other, versus staying in our truth and our integrity. So when we stay in our truth and our integrity, it becomes a lot easier to ebb and flow with the illusion of life and other, essentially. So yeah, I've had quite a few shifts even around the concept of relationships as well, which I will endeavor to share with you and communicate at some point. And I'm getting this random like drop-in piece about like when people message me being like, are you okay? You don't and I suppose it's my own permissioning, like I'm allowed to just be in any frequency that I'm in, but I've had such profound shifts that, like, yeah, I'm great, basically. Like, I feel really amazing, and I'm really aware of just listen to the words, you know, and just feel the energetic transmission and exchange, rather than, you know, judging one video from the next to the next, like there's a rise and fall, because there's a integration in me that's very, like, that's grounding in, and yeah, just the polarity of self, and this aspect of self that had to almost put on like a show or be extra joyful or something, or excitable or something for pleasing purposes, and I'm just kind of like over it. I don't know, I'm like, ugh. You know, as in there's heartfelt information to be shared here, and it doesn't have to come in any specific package. I'm not sure why I'm having to express that, but there you go. Yeah, I guess it's just like feel the transmission and listen to the words, rather than like judgment, which is usually when we project stuff onto people, like as in, are you okay, versus like just feel the transmission, and how it comes through you, and what it activates in you. Yeah, that's because that's part of the gift of empathy, is like feeling people's judgments, hence why we have those different layers to burn through, because it's like we don't even know until we know that we're putting on a show, we're putting on a bit of a mask because of a deeper unworthiness wound. Yeah, and again, there's so much distortion in people's projected self. So, and yeah, it's up to you to discern, ultimately. So yeah, within this quantum leap, there's a quantum shift in our awareness. It's always a biofeedback of self, so more self-responsible creators coming online and choosing divine action. That's the via the law, that's divine right action. And it's above anything constructed on the 3D reality plane. So that's why we're endeavoring to make the quantum leap, because we're rising out of the old construct, which is one and the same as its dissolution. We choose to operate, vibrate the cosmos clears the path. We choose to operate in the divine law. Literally everything can open up for us. We didn't need to wait. We don't need to bow to any external rule. It's just not the game anymore. The game is to align yourself with the truth of your knowing and then walk that path in truth. And all the divine aspects open up to us as we choose it. Your divine right action is in alignment with the whole that you perceived, and yet you are the whole. So it's again, it's one and the same. We can't change the world by fighting it. We can't change the system by raging against it. We can't shift the pole by pointing fingers and blaming and attacking anyone or anything. We must be integrated whole beings to the best of our ability. It's ongoing. Again, it is an ongoing process, and yet there's moments I just get where I'm like, it's beyond words in essence. Because it's the totality of our being is continually shape-shifting. Yeah, and then the final note I have is like, we have to continue to own the fact that our thoughts and feelings are creating the world around us. And that's all this work has been for myself. Speaking for myself is just me owning my emotions and my thoughts and continually shape-shifting them, whether in a good feeling or a bad feeling, you know. It's like, and you will be tested. That's what faith is. That's how we continue to shapeshift, is to test ourselves so that we continue to clear density and heal and have ongoing awakenings, ongoing shapeshifting. But the more we let go of the minutia of control, the more the reality opens up to us in greater and greater divinity, trusting that the broader self knows the little self. The ocean knows the wave. Like, just, trust, Little wave doesn't have to, try to create a storm. The ocean and the coordinates will do all that for you. It's sort of like the idea of like a predestined thing, and yet to follow the flow of destiny, you want to be in that. You want to know the good feelings. You want to give yourself permission to feel good, and that often can require quite a lot of relaxation, meditation, self-love, positive thinking, in coordination with transforming the density of all the shitty feelings, basically, and letting yourself rise up and continuing to choose love, and knowing that within that faith there is divine coordination taking place in cooperation. So it's like all the coordinates have to line up, hence moments where you're just gonna relax a lot and let everything kind of drop in and fit itself in, I think that's everything for today, you guys. Thanks a lot for being here. I'll speak to you soon. Peace.